Most people think comfort is the reward. They think convenience is the point. Work hard, earn more, remove friction from your life. Faster food, better cars, smoother apps, softer furniture. Everything optimized so you never have to feel resistance again. That's the promise. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Comfort doesn't arrive after financial success. It quietly replaces it. And most people don't even notice when the trade happens. They feel safe. They feel modern. They feel like they're doing well. And year after year, nothing actually changes. Not their net worth, not their freedom, not their future, just the quality of the sofa. This matters now because comfort has never been cheaper, faster, or more aggressively marketed than it is today. And it's quietly rewriting how people spend, borrow, and stay stuck. Let's talk about what most people get wrong about comfort, convenience, and money, not in theory, not in slogans, but in the actual mechanics of how the system works. Because once you see it, it's hard to unsee. Start with something simple. Two people earn the same income, same city, same education, same age. One of them lives a slightly uncomfortable life. Not miserable, just friction exists. They cook more than they order. They drive a reliable, older car. They wait instead of upgrading. They tolerate mild inconvenience. The other person removes friction aggressively. Food arrives in minutes. The car payment matches their status. Subscriptions handle everything. Time is saved constantly. From the outside, the second life looks better, smoother, cleaner, more successful. But fast forward 10 years, the difference is not taste, it's trajectory. Because comfort doesn't cost money once, it costs money every single day it's maintained. That's the part most people miss. We tend to think of financial decisions as events, buying a car, renting an apartment, upgrading a phone. But the modern economy doesn't profit from events, it profits from permanence, from locking comfort into your baseline. Once comfort becomes normal, anything less feels like loss, and loss triggers spending. This is where convenience stops being helpful and starts becoming expensive in a very specific way. Not because it's overpriced, but because it changes your expectations, and expectations control behavior. Think about how quickly optional becomes necessary. Food delivery starts as a treat, then a busy day solution, then the default. A car upgrade starts as a reward, then a standard, then a monthly obligation. Streaming subscriptions stack slowly, individually small, collectively permanent. None of this feels reckless. That's the genius of it. The system doesn't need you to overspend dramatically. It needs you to normalize slightly higher spending forever. That's how it wins. And here's where the math gets uncomfortable. Let's say convenience adds a few $100s a month to your life. Better car, more services, more friction removed. That's not a crisis, but compound it over 20 years. Not just the spending, the opportunity cost, the investments not made, the flexibility not preserved, the risk you couldn't take because your baseline was too expensive. That's where the real cost lives. Comfort doesn't bankrupt people quickly, it quietly flattens their future. Now let's zoom out. Why is this happening now? Because modern capitalism stopped selling products, it started selling relief. Relief from waiting, relief from boredom, relief from effort, relief from inconvenience. Everything is framed as a time saver, but saved time rarely becomes invested time. It becomes consumed time, scroll time, watch time, order more time. The promise is efficiency. The outcome is dependency. In the financial system, loves dependency. Predictable payments, recurring charges, long-term financing, stability for corporations, rigidity for individuals. This is why debt and comfort are so closely linked, not because people are irresponsible, but because comfort is easier to finance than discipline. A car loan feels painless monthly. Cooking feels effortful daily. A subscription feels invisible. Manual effort feels annoying. The system doesn't fight you, it cooperates with your instincts. Humans avoid friction. The market monetizes that avoidance. Now here's the irony. The more comfortable your life becomes, the more fragile it often is, because comfort increases fixed costs. Fixed costs reduce flexibility. Flexibility is what protects people during shocks, job loss, health issues, economic downturns.
People don't collapse because they lack income, they collapse because their lifestyle has no margin, and comfort is the primary margin killer. This is where the story gets slightly absurd. Many people believe they are buying freedom through convenience, but they're actually pre-spending future freedom. They're borrowing stability from tomorrow to feel calm today. It feels rational. Everyone else is doing it. The offers are attractive, the payments are manageable. Until they aren't. And when things tighten, comfort doesn't scale down gracefully. It resists. It creates anxiety. Because once comfort is normal, discomfort feels like failure. Even when it's temporary, even when it's strategic. This psychological shift is devastating financially. People avoid downshifting not because they can't, but because it feels like regression. And the system knows this. That's why everything is framed as an upgrade, never a pause, never a step back, never a deliberate simplification. Always forward, always smoother, always newer, even when forward is sideways financially. Now compare this to how wealth actually accumulates. Wealth grows quietly, uneventfully, often uncomfortably. It requires periods where life feels inefficient, where effort isn't outsourced, where status isn't maximized, where optional friction is tolerated. Not because suffering builds character, but because margin builds leverage. Margin allows patience. Patience allows compounding. Compounding doesn't care how comfortable you feel. This creates a strange divide. Two people earning well, one feels constantly behind despite having everything. The other feels strangely calm despite having less visible luxury. The difference is not income, it's baseline expectation. Comfort raises the floor, but it also raises the ceiling you must keep paying for. And ceilings don't care about your mood or your career trajectory. This is why so many professionals feel trapped, not broke, trapped. They did everything right, education, career, income growth, but comfort arrived early and it locked itself in. Now, any financial move feels risky because the downside includes lifestyle loss, and lifestyle loss feels personal, even when it's logical, even when it's temporary. This is the hidden mechanism no one explains. The system converts psychological discomfort into financial obedience. You keep earning, you keep paying, you keep optimizing comfort, not because you love it, but because stepping off feels worse. From the outside, it looks like success. From the inside, it feels narrow. Now zoom out further. What happens when an entire generation builds life this way? High fixed costs, low flexibility, high convenience dependency. Economic shocks hit harder, career risks feel impossible, entrepreneurship declines. People become more conservative not politically, but financially. Not because they lack ambition, but because comfort made ambition expensive. And here's the quiet punchline. Comfort doesn't even deliver long-term happiness. It delivers short-term relief. Then it normalizes. Then it disappears into the background. And all that's left is the bill. This is why convenience never feels enough, why upgrades stop satisfying quickly, why people keep chasing smoother lives without feeling safer. They confuse ease with security. They are not the same. Security comes from margin, from options, from the ability to absorb shocks. Comfort often erodes all three. Now, none of this means comfort is bad. That's the part people misunderstand. The issue is timing and scale. Comfort purchased after flexibility is different from comfort purchased instead of it. Convenience used strategically is different from convenience used reflexively. But the system doesn't teach discernment. It teaches normalization, and normalization is powerful. Once everyone around you lives a certain way, deviation feels extreme, even when it's financially sound. This is how middle-income earners stay middle income, not because they don't earn enough, but because their cost structure evolves as fast as their income, sometimes faster, and every raise becomes invisible, absorbed by comfort inflation. Not greed, not stupidity, just alignment with incentives designed to capture surplus. So where does this leave us? Not with a solution, not with a checklist, but with a question most people never stop to ask. Is the comfort you're paying for actually making your life safer or just quieter? Because those are very different outcomes. And once you start noticing the difference, every convenient choice starts to look a little less neutral, a little more strategic, or a little more expensive than it first appears. And that's where the real tension begins, not between rich and poor, but between comfort now and freedom later. And the unsettling part is this: the system doesn't care which one you choose, but your future absolutely does.